Weeks of threats and mounting uncertainty have come to this. One of the largest free trade relationships in the world is about to break down.
Definitively, tariffs are coming. It's news that hurt markets and the Canadian dollar.
We have a president in the United States that is determined to get money wherever he can, determined to exert his power.
In one single motion, putting these tariffs on Canada, he is going to make things much more expensive for American voters.
Hello, and welcome back to the Citi-Zen-Ship show. My name is Clinton. Today, we are talking about tariffs. This is a story that has been taking the news cycle and the internet by storm. It broke on the weekend. Donald Trump has been threatening to levy tariffs on Canada, 25% on most goods, 10% on energy. So this video is mostly the news reaction to this story. I've been kind of glued to the CBC News Network over the past 3 days, and this show is mostly a highlight reel of the roller coaster that the news went through when they thought tariffs were coming, and then the kind of relaxation somewhat that followed when they were on pause. So I hope you enjoyed this clip show, and we'll come back at the end of it to kind of give my final thoughts.
We have complete coverage tonight from our correspondents lined up, how Canadian businesses across the country are bracing for what's coming and how Ottawa is responding. But first,
the Wall Street Journal published an opinion piece tonight, and I'm reading the title of it here, "The Dumbest Trade War in History," saying that Trump is imposing these tariffs for no good reason.
The Prime Minister's office says Justin Trudeau did not speak to Trump on Friday.
It is insane that in this great crisis, Parliament is shut down.
Some Canadians are already lashing out.
We don't want to be here. We didn't ask for this. But we will not back down.
Tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success. They cause big success, so we're going to have great success.
So if tariffs were implemented overnight, that would cause a catastrophe to the border crossing.
Since vehicles go back and forth across the border multiple times during the manufacturing process, analysts say the cost for car makers could far exceed just 25%.
Katie, this is big news here, of course. Are there signs that Americans are paying attention?
Meme culture is taking a crack at it, so it is getting play on social media. But it will really take hold once prices do start to go up and if people's jobs are in jeopardy.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, along with premiers from across the country, are encouraging people to buy Canadian.
I think we should do everything we can to buy Canadian.
Experts warn, though, it might be hard to tell what's Canadian and what isn't because the North American economy is so intertwined.
The reality is there's lots of goods Canada doesn't produce and food we can't grow, especially in winter. In order to buy Canadian, shoppers need to do research, make substitutions, and be prepared to pay more.
The Canadian Chamber of Commerce actually estimated that the 25% tariff could cost the average Canadian household about $1,900 more on an annual basis.
The provincial government is preparing to fight back. It's considering taking American-made alcohol off the shelves of liquor stores, restricting exports of minerals for EV batteries, even threatening to cut off power supplied to U.S. homes.
At this Alberta truck stop, the red-hot topic was the looming U.S. tariff on oil and gas.
Well, I think it'll affect obviously Canada as well as Alberta. It also affects the states, so it's a lose-lose.
Bottles of Kentucky bourbon and Tennessee whiskey are whisked from BC store shelves days before the U.S. tariffs hit. American distillers say bans in multiple provinces will affect more than $1 billion in cross-border booze trade.
It feels kind of like we're caught in a schoolyard fight and a little childish and disappointing, and we're just hoping that this kind of gets resolved quickly.
And now Ottawa has published a detailed list of the $155 billion worth of American goods Canada will target. More than 1,000 products, everything from juice and liquor to makeup and motorcycles. Fruits and vegetables, jewelry, and washing machines also made the lengthy list.
There's no clarity on how long these tariffs could last. Pressure at home could force Trump's hand, but Canada is preparing for a war of attrition.
And for the mouse,
to attack the two-ton elephant and say we're going to get in there and beat them up and knock the the two-ton elephant out is just preposterous.
Well, if this trade war lasts for just a month or two, experts tell me the hit to the economy will be limited. But if it goes on for a year, there's a real risk Canada will sink into recession.
Let me look into my crystal ball, Ian. Stock markets were down modestly on Friday. Would I be making a change just because of these tariffs? No.
Let's go to a question now that was sent in to us on video.
We were wondering what the fastest way to end this trade war would be.
If the measures and countermeasures and the escalation of the trade war in North America starts hurting Americans in key places a lot and quickly, there is a good chance that these measures could be taken back. If not, this could be our future for a while.
Breaking news this hour. Canada has been granted a 30-day reprieve from those punishing U.S. tariffs. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing just moments ago the 25% tariff that was supposed to take effect at midnight tonight is on hold.
What a day. Let's just put it that way. A roller coaster of a day, I think, is how we would describe it, from, those, gut-wrenching dread to a sigh of relief for now. That's kind of been the trajectory of all of this.
This has got to be a huge relief for just about everybody in this country.
Oh, 30 days. It could change in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's been such a rough ride today. The markets opened quite a bit down. The TSX was down 2.5%.
And remember, what's the business of the United States? Business. And if you start to mess with business, as this would do, you can't proceed.
I don't think he backed down because of what we announced. I think he backed down because the markets took a dive this morning.
On Saturday, when the United States Chamber of Commerce, the world's largest business organization, and this is a very Republican group, it's a blue chip business group, and it's a very, very important constituent in the United States. When it says this is a bad idea, even someone like Donald Trump, who loves the attention he's getting and it loves to be a disruptor, has to pay attention.
But I do think this is strategic. It's just 5,000 things flying out of the Oval Office every day. You can't keep track of them.
Today happened to be a long-standing day planned to celebrate the Florida Panthers NHL hockey team. So there are Canadians in the White House at this celebration. They give Donald Trump like a golden hockey stick, and he's standing right beside the Stanley Cup. All of these things that are so rooted in Canada, as everyone's waiting to find out, are the tariffs coming? What is happening?
You don't know what's coming next. So everyone is constantly in sort of a semi-vulnerable state responding to Trump. And again, we're at 2 weeks in of 4 years. So I expect chaos is going to reign supreme.
It is day 15 with 1,446 days to go.
Whether it's tomorrow, in a month, or a year from now, Canada and Ontario continue to stare down the threat of tariffs. With the U.S. pausing tariffs, Ontario will also pause our retaliatory measures. If President Trump proceeds with tariffs, we won't hesitate to remove American products off LCBO shelves.
Now I have a little bit of sympathy for the people who were just pulling all the stuff off the shelves, and now they have to put it back on the shelves.
Why were these tariffs eventually paused? Well, there's a couple different rationale that people have been floating for why this transpired. Number one is, and probably the most realistic reason, is the stock market. I think we had a clip there that, the business of America is business. And when you interfere with the stock market, you start interfering with shareholder value. This is when American companies get involved. One of the big reasons that I think why this plan was halted was the fact that the stock market took a big hit on Monday, and that American business and Canadian business, but let's be real, mostly American business has the ear of the president. American business did not want this to be pushed forward. This would hurt shareholder value. This would hurt the stock market. This would hurt American business and American workers. But let's be real, most of the Republican Party is more concerned about the C-suites than the mailroom. That's just my opinion on that. But point one would be that this was going to hurt the stock market, and that's why Trump, he pulled back. The second reason was the public reaction. There was a large public reaction in Canada. We had our Buy Canada campaign, but also throughout the United States, there was very vocal Democrat opposition to this. The people were obviously very upset about this, and that's kind of where the buck stops, I think, is that this is a bad policy because it would have hurt the people, it would have hurt the workers, it would have hurt the consumers. So there was a big backlash from the people in both Canada and the United States. I don't think it made a difference in the mind of Donald Trump, but who knows? Maybe it actually reverberated up and it made an impact. The third option that people have floated about why this sudden change was the retaliatory tariffs that both Canada and Mexico levied on the US. This was not something that either country was going to take lying down. So maybe the retaliatory efforts had an impact? Potentially. So I think, and a lot of the commentators on CBC were pointing this out, this was a money thing. This was something that if these tariffs went forward, it would hurt corporate America, and God knows you can't upset corporate America. So the feeling in this country right now is one of relief, but also one of uncertainty. I think it's very clear that President Donald Trump continues to be an agent of chaos, so to speak. So Canadians are breathing easy today, but we will have to see how things progress in the future. But the big purpose of this video here and the message that I wanted to drill home to you guys watching now is the fact that we can't allow ourselves to get swept up in this hype. And I totally, I think a lot of people got swept up in this anxiety and this hype around this. But we have to remember not to be too cynical. The news is entertainment business. They want you to kind of get sucked into their zeitgeist sometimes. And I think this story, the fact that we went from uncertainty to terror to relief to uncertainty, and we're kind of right back to where we started, it's this big, hamster wheel that we keep getting stuck on. And the important point I wanted to make today is to not get caught up in the hype, to keep yourself grounded. Stay informed, stay zen. That's the goal of this program, at least. And this whole kerfuffle with the tariffs, I think, is a great example of the fact that calmer heads did prevail, and it's gonna be okay.
This whole tariff situation has been really intense, and I'm glad that there's a little bit of a pause on this. Obviously, this is a developing story. So if you want updates and you like my style, subscribe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.
We have a reputation for being a chill, relaxed, kind of easygoing country. We want to see Canadians get their back up and get some things done, then threaten our sovereignty.
BC Premier David Eby in his Bob the Builder outfit.